We've got a pretty cool vlog that we're starting today. We'll take you through the whole project here, start to finish. We're one of the large designated dispersed sites off of Homestake Road. Now remember, all the camping up here is designated dispersed, so you've got to camp in one of the places that's allowed. We've got quite a bit of stuff. We got a couple other vehicles coming later today. We're up at just before the entrance to Holy Cross. And the reason is we've got an excavator here we're going to do some work with. So you can see it there. We had it brought up on a low boy. It's an 85 Deere. Pretty heavy thing, almost 20,000 pounds. So it took a lot to get that thing in here. We're going to try and get it as close to the exit on Holy Cross as we can. The one-way exit part there, about 1.3 miles in or so, and then we're going to start walking it up the road. So we're up here now at the entrance. We obviously have a barricade there and then the closure order. So the first part of the trail here to the one-way exit is still open. So you can see that on the map there. We're down there at the very beginning next to that tent camping sign. And then it's not closed. It's the yellow section that's closed. It's closed up there right after the intersection where you go down to like the Fancy Creek Trailhead. So the first part's technically open. If somebody wanted to come up here and drive a couple loops up through there, we're just airing down. They unloaded that excavator just a few minutes ago here, and they're tracking it up the trail. We'll catch up with them here shortly. I was hoping to get it all the way around to the exit, but that semi with that lowboy just can't make some of those real tight S-curves up here. So we're just going to end up tracking it up the first part of the trail, and then we'll continue on where it's closed. So there it is. We caught up to the Mini. We're still here at the first on this open hillside that you can kind of still see out down to Homestake Road. So we'll follow him for a while, see how it goes. He's tracking it pretty good though up this first section in here. It honestly didn't take that long to get up through here, so we'll see how it does.
Just keep your right track in the trough, and I'll keep an eye on the tree to make sure it's not going to hit the body. All right.
These things do pretty good with those rubber tracks. I think that's one of the biggest machines you can still get rubber tracks on, right? So that's one of the biggest things, is trying to have rubber tracks on these on these rocks out here to really maneuver that around. Not a bad view up here for a project. The aspens are just starting to turn up through here. Pretty good day so far. It's one of the first pretty big sections in here that's got some irregular shaped ledges in the rocks. So we'll see if Mikey can get this up through there. No sweat, just like that.
Right, sketchy.
now we're at the gatekeeper. Let's see if we can try and get this mini to go up this rock. See if we can pull ourselves up through here. Looking pretty good. Didn't take a lot to push that thing up that obstacle and spin it around to get it more square up here. So he's about got it now. So there we go. So the notch, gatekeeper obstacle. Mike and that excavator made short work of that. Without winching, you all saw that on camera. That excavator one-shotted that obstacle without winching. All right, here we go. Trying to catch that excavator. We had to winch. Shoot. 1, 2, 3 Jeeps up that. It's pretty wet up here. It rained really hard up here last night, so that makes some of these obstacles incredibly slippery. Well, we got that mini up. Now we're gonna go try and see what we can do up here at Steep Rock, whether we can get that mini up that one without too much issue or not. So now it's dumping. You can barely see all the way up there with that thing coming down hard.
Back to where we can be in society.
You know, that would be good.
Both of us are kind of like, oh boy.
The dog had to find something to roll in right away, let her out of the car, and here we go. So she's getting a bath. That's good. So now we're at Steep Rock. We got 2 vehicles up just in case we need an anchor point for that thing. And Wild Man Mike is gonna attempt to get that mini up here. See how it goes.
Into the hillside.
Slide off the edge, yeah.
No, they dynamited it to make it flat and level. But they had a tracked jackhammer who was busting little rocks into big rocks.
Here we go. See if he can pull himself up through here. Wait, say that again. What did you just say?
That one made me nervous.
That one made you nervous? How long you been running mini excavators?
Well, excavators since 1995.
Oh boy, so a few years.
Yep.
30 years.
At the ski area building lift towers.
Yeah, so you're the right man for the job. So that did pretty good up there. That's the last big obstacle here before we're gonna get up to French Creek. So being able to get up the notch down there at the gatekeeper, and then obviously this one also on steep rock. That's a pretty good feat for a guy operating a mini excavator down there at the bottom. So French Creek's as far as we're going on this project. We've got about 10 areas from the one-way exit down there up to French Creek flagged for drainage. We're hoping to get the creek to run through the channel across the road, not down the road up here at French Creek. But we'll take a better look at it once we get up here around the corner at French Creek. Okay, so here we are up here at the creek. This is kind of the problem, is that creek runs clear down here past the mini and then down over there where it used to be the campsite. Instead of crossing up here where the main channel goes across. And obviously we have this sign here that asks people to stage here, because at one time the water came down to about this sign and then went off right where this excavator is. And now it goes clear past the excavator down where the Jeeps are. And when people stage in the creek and there's a backup here and everybody's trying their luck, trying to get across, and anything's leaking any fluid, and I know none of your vehicles leak, right? Then it goes right into the creek. So we'll put that sign up to try and get people to not stage in the creek and wait down there until it was their turn. That obviously doesn't always happen. And then also now the creek goes farther down than it used to. So we're gonna attempt to just manipulate a couple boulders without digging in the creek or anything to try and get it to flow back across like it should and dry all of this out. We're not making anything easier, or removing obstacles or anything like that. We're just going to try and get the water to exit, see what we can do, and go from there. So now we're just working on placing the last few rocks, some of the crevices, and make sure they're not in a bad spot when you're able to drive up through here. So we're about the end of our first day now. We're going to walk back up through here where the creek is, and I'll show you what the difference looks like now from when we first showed up on site. It's the end of the day, so I got a little bit of sun glare going on here. But remember this, there was water running all the way down through here. Remember that? It was running right down here, down the road, because there's our sign right there about not staging in the creek. And so now there's no water on the road down here at all. And we were able to push it out, kind of armor two downhill spots of the channel with rocks up here. Again, we didn't make it easier. In fact, it might be kind of harder climbing through here. But here's the first one. So we've kind of got a water bar behind it, placed some big rocks in front of that, and that's where the water then goes down through to the side. So this took about, about a third of the water right here, about 2/3 of the water in that other big channel up front. We'll go look over there. So you can see the main part of the obstacle after, and then we've got it down. So you really don't touch the water much down here at all. It flows through those rocks and out there, and then anything that doesn't goes down there and then out on that side where I was down there below. So it's working a lot better now, kind of flowing across and out in two channels. We'll dig one more water bar tomorrow down below where the sign was, since there's no creek down there, and then that way during really high water, really high runoff, it would still exit off the road down there before it ever did what it was doing before, where it was still running clear down the road. So we got a pretty good day up here. Everything looks good. Now we're gonna probably head back down to camp, and then tomorrow we'll start taking this machine out, and on our way out we'll do a whole bunch of drainage work in some wet and muddy places, and then build several water bars too, so that that road down there drains really well for future years. All right, not bad for the first day. We're heading back down to camp after parking that Mini for the night. So we'll come back up tomorrow morning and start working on down from the high point back through everywhere that we have marked for drainage through here. So pretty good day. Say hi, Josh. We'll cook dinner at camp and chill by the fire. All right, this is day 2. We're getting ready to head back up. We just came in the exit. We'll go up here to that first gatekeeper, the notch obstacle, make our way back up to French Creek where we left that mini excavator last night, and check and make sure that the road is totally dried out, and start working our way down. So we're on our way up now. We didn't have any problems with the public yesterday in the closure, so just swung that barricade across the road behind us, and hopefully we don't have any issues today. So as a lot of you probably know, this obstacle when wet is incredibly slick on these rocks. We had to winch 3 of 5 vehicles yesterday to try and get up through here because it's just...
I think in the interest of time, pull cable.
It's just slick. Do you want to pull cable?
Yeah.
Right now? Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll run the cable out on this one really quick. There you go. I think you should, turn passenger as you go up. Just like that, even with all that water and mud slicked up the tires, you can get her right there. So here we are this morning. That machine fired up. We're going to build one water bar down here low. I'll show you that in a second. But first, you know, where Brian's Jeep was sitting when I did that video yesterday, there was water, a lot of water flowing all the way down through here. His Jeep would have been sitting in the water right here. And all of this up through here was water too. You know, it was running right down this road. So we'll go around the machine in a second. And we stopped all that, so now the road's bone dry. Even there at the sign where it tells you to stage so you're not staging in the water. And because the road's dry, you can even see in front of him. See that? There's no water running down the road. So we're going to build a water bar here as the last resort during real high water. If it comes down and goes over those two channels we have now and gets to this far, it'll go off the road right here and won't continue running down. So the goal is to have this fix work for low water like this, where you're really not in contact with the water much until we get up where those guys are. But it also works for really high water, shedding it off the road instead of running down here and where Grant's at and where Brian's Jeep is and around the corner towards that campsite. This should stay dry all the time. So now you can kind of see from the high point here where those guys are, where the channel comes out in front of the rocks on French Creek. Then it goes across into there. And then where Josh is, it goes under these big boulders and across and out right there. So you're not in contact with the water because it's filtering through those rocks. Then the road's totally dry. We're going to build a big water bar then right there for any high water or runoff season. Snow melt will go off right there and won't continue down. So we'll go back up in a minute and pack that water bar in with vehicles really good and drive up there through there a couple times to make sure all the rocks are settled and stuff under vehicle weight. But we're going to walk back down here and look at the first drainage spot moving back down from French Creek. So we'll get a vehicle down here. We'll get that mini back down here, and then we'll start working our way back down. So this is kind of our next location here. It's not bad now because we're in September. There's not a lot. And this is kind of a wet year, but there's not a lot of water still here, but kind of wet up there. Comes down on the road, makes a huge mud mess, and then we're going to shoot it off the side here on the downhill side so that there's not that puddle there. We'll probably move some material up on that side and then cut this drainage ditch from there across the road over to that side. So we're back up at French Creek. Cheston's really packing that in. We're going to follow him up through there, pack stuff down with the vehicles.
Just woke up from a nice nap. I'm in the wilderness. Seems like I'm all alone. Looking around. Yep, there's nobody. I'm back. There was nothing. There was a tree branch. That is all. Captain's log. Still all alone. I found some meat on the side of the road. I guess I'll chew on that. I'm still all alone. No sign of Sasquatch. We're in the core group. Starting to feel a little scared, a little lonely. I'll check back in.
So now you can see as we drive up here, and Josh is working on that edge, putting some cobble in the lower end of that water bar. It's still locked together with the, dirt in there, but there's no water running down the road here anymore. And if anything seeps or get past these creek channels, then it's going to get taken out and off the road right there, out through this natural drainage that was already here. Then we kind of just opened that up and built that water bar behind it. So anything in the road will be forced off. And then, as you can see, we're still not in the water at all. I mean, this one, we just moved some big rocks and placed them on top of other rocks so the water runs underneath them in that channel, and then you go over top of the rocks. It's kind of some cool new rocky terrain with those big boulders that you're climbing over through here. And then we did the same thing up here, that creek channel that goes across. We pulled rocks off the side of the road, kind of kept the channel moving underneath. We kind of stacked the rocks on top of each other so they're not really moved out, or won't be with high water. We've got a lot over here on the edge that will hold that bank right there during high water so that it doesn't wash away the edge here or the road. But then you're not going to be in the water until you get up there in front of Cheston's truck, where you start the main climb out of the creek. None of those boulders have changed. There's nothing different over there at all. That's where we'll start that. You got several lines across there of how to get out of the creek. So, moving up through here, you're probably in the water maybe a tenth of what you were before. So we've probably got 90% of the trail through here. You're no longer in contact with the water. And some people, maybe are upset about that. They, I like water. I want, they view water as part of the obstacle, part of the challenge. They like that aspect of it, but the reality is, we just need to try and limit our contact with water as much as we can. So we're not dripping oil in it, we're not stirring sediment up in it. Doesn't mean we can't cross the creek like we're doing right here, but we don't want it to run 100 yards down the trail and you'd be in the creek the entire time. That's really what we're trying to avoid. And I think, for now, these kind of fixes up here at French Creek will last several years through high water, through low water, and at least limit the contact of vehicles with water. So here we are at that site where you saw the excavator just working. And what we have is the creek kind of comes into the road up high where I am, goes down the road a ways and then off. And it had been running down the road a long ways. So we really built that water bar in there with a lot of rock and then some fine material to hold it all together. Kind of armored this side and armored the water bar so that this will actually build the road back up over here as the water hits that and kind of turns and goes down. It'll deposit sediment and build that bank back up. But this water was running way down the road and it was creating an issue way down here that I'll show you when we get down to that point. But it was all coming just from this stream. It's not running very much water, but it was not going off the road and it was running down the road. So then it was kind of running around this big rock that we're at right now and was continuing down the road. So what we want to do is be redundant in our mitigation work. So at the bottom of this big rock, we're building the water bar so that during high water, or if anything happens, heavy rain or a problem, it's going to run off the road right here. They're really trying to use big rocks to use as the base material of that, and then we'll put some smaller stuff over top so that it holds that structure in there. Just like that. They're operators.
Yeah.
They can handle it.
Oh yeah.
So Grant will come down, pack that down a little bit. But this one's there in case that creek just above us that we drove through just a minute ago fails, is coming down. It was running down the road beyond this, much lower, that we'll show you. But this way, if anything does get past that creek or there's a major event up here, it would run off the road right here instead of continuing down. Plus, it's going to be kind of cool to come around that corner and probably flex your suspension out a little bit before you turn and go up this rock face right there. We'll make it kind of neat. So we got another one right here that we're going to do just behind me. This is just below that water bar I just showed you with Grant driving down in that red Jeep. And I'm going to flip the camera around and I'll show you why. So this is exactly where I was just standing. I just flipped the camera around. Now this is, the road didn't used to bend way down here at the bottom. And what has happened, we blocked that stream off up there, but you can still see just the last bit of trickle of water that's still coming down that road from where that stream used to run down the road, and it was coming clear down here. And what's happened is it's saturated this whole area. And so where the road grade used to be way up high, all this material's gradually moved down. Like, look at all the fines down here that have collected and been spun out of that. All that material used to be over here in this road, and it didn't used to come way down here and loop around and then even start going up. And see, it's even moving off the edge of that slab even there farther to the right. So this was all caused because of wet conditions down here from that creek way up there that we fixed, and now is going across the road and back down into the original creek channel. And this is some of the stuff that happens, like, the trail deteriorates. It takes an entirely new path that it didn't used to, and all that's happened is the drainage just failed up above. And that's a lot of what we do when we take these, if you've seen any of our other videos where we take these pieces of equipment and excavators, on trails. We did a bunch of work on Williams with water bars, a bunch of work on Hancock Pass with water bars, just so like this type of stuff doesn't happen. This level of erosion doesn't happen. And then we don't end up with problems or people complaining because of, water and the road deteriorating and things like that. So we'll get this other one built up here behind me. And then hopefully this area is going to dry out over the next several days and be good. And you might notice, if you come up here in the next week or two this season after we've been in here, some disturbance to, obviously the road where we had to scratch some stuff up to build water bars, maybe a couple places where the machine tracked through, and that'll all go back, to more natural looking for the trail over one season. You'll never even know if the water bars are really tall and you're like, oh my gosh, you built them too big. We didn't. They're going to settle. They usually settle to about half the height of what you build. So if you need a 2-foot water bar, we really try and build them 4 feet tall, because then after they settle over a season, they'll be the right height at 2 feet. So if you come in here right away, just know that a lot of this stuff is going to settle. We know that. We're building it that way. But this way it keeps the water off the road, keeps the trail in good condition, maintains the integrity of the trail long term. How's this one looking?
I think it's going to be okay. I think we need to fill some rock in here.
Okay.
And it's difficult because there's not a lot of fines available in these because it's a bedrock-driven system. So I think when we draw this swale out, we're going to be able to use some of this fine, mix it in with that pile.
Oh, God. Yeah, no, totally hammered. Yeah, totally hammered.
Yeah, it's like that right there. This erodes out, great. We're just going to back it all up to it. And that rock's going to hold.
Yeah, I see exactly what.
Hammer, come on, damn it.
So now we've got that done. Pretty good, that water bar. Lining it with rocks in the bottom. So if there's heavy flow of water, it doesn't just blow it out and eat it back into the road. Make a big trench in the road. We'll have Grant pack that one down a little bit. Those guys are moving on down with the excavator around that corner I just showed you with all the sediment, and then we'll continue on to the next one. All right, down with day 2. We got them mostly finished. I think there's like 2 more locations that we'll have to finish tomorrow and walk that excavator all the way out. So we're just driving down the trail now, heading back to camp, and we'll get after it early again tomorrow. All right, day 3. We just passed up through the gatekeeper there, the notch obstacle. We're about to the excavator. We're going to build these couple of the bars and see if we can get it back down the gatekeeper and then head out. We should be pretty much done. So this is the first one we got already done. This is kind of a funnel down here in the bottom. So there's a lot of, not now, but earlier in the season, and come running down that side of the road. And then it's kind of hard to tell, but this side of the road where that excavator is going out is a high point too. So they both kind of come down here, and then we built a funnel, basically just to funnel it out. So if I go stand down here at the low point, you can probably see it a little bit better. So if it comes down the road that way, comes down the low point and funnels out, or if it comes down the road from over there, comes down this way and funnels it out to where I'm standing. So now we'll head down to the next one. I think we only got 1 or 2 more to do. So we're back at the gatekeeper. Got this machine down here. We'll see about what they're thinking about doing with that sucker down there. But yeah, big thanks. That was from 4 Rivers Equipment that we got that machine from. So that was awesome that we were able to rent this size of a excavator, be able to get it all the way up to French Creek. And then this is the last real obstacle, obviously, to get it down, and then we'll just be able to road it back out to the trailer and pick it up. There you go. Mike got that excavator down the notch. The gatekeeper obstacle right here. No issue at all. Now just drive it down to the exit and then road it all the way back to the trailer. Yourself look good. Looking good. We got that down from the exit. Sitting down here on Homestake Road. These are the only guys brave enough to stay all 3 days for the 3, right? And Josh gets to the long drive around walking that sucker out. It's a long way roading that little thing out of here. So here we go, tracking down the road. So here we go. Got that thing tracked all the way down the road. Down here. Back down here now, right at the trailhead. So that guy will get picked up tomorrow. Get that thing out of here. And yeah, project well done. So thanks to all of the volunteers. Equipment rental, Fort Rivers. Mike's Dirt Work. Everybody else that helped us on this project. Good 3 days in the mountain, and Holy Cross looks really good.